A man should demand much from himself, but little from others. Virtue is the root, wealth is the fruit. Learning without thought is labor lost. Thought without learning is perilous. He who acts with a constant view to his own advantage will be much murmured against. When you have faults, do not fear to abandon them. He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior. In a country well governed, poverty is something to be ashamed of. In a country badly governed, wealth is something to be ashamed of. The more man meditates upon good thoughts, the better will be his world and the world at large. He who learns but does not apply is like a man who plows a field but does not sow. To see and listen to the wicked is already the beginning of wickedness. What the superior man seeks is in himself. What the small man seeks is in others. When anger rises, think of the consequences. He who knows all the answers has not been asked all the questions. The journey with 1,000 miles begins with one step. Those who cannot forgive others break the bridge over which they themselves must pass. The cautious seldom err. In a well-governed country, those who are poor are ashamed of their poverty. In a badly governed country, the rich are ashamed of their wealth. Better a diamond with a flaw than a pebble without. You cannot open a book without learning something. He who wishes to secure the good of others has already secured his own. The superior man is calm and at ease. The inferior man is always anxious. Virtue is not left to stand alone. He who practices it will have neighbors. He who excels in study can follow an official career. Fine words and an insinuating appearance are seldom associated with true virtue. Respect yourself and others will respect you. Wisdom is the ability to see things as they are, not as we wish them to be. The superior man is dignified but not proud. The inferior man is proud but not dignified. The superior man sets his mind at rest before difficulties arise. Ignorance and lack of knowledge lead to destruction. I am not concerned that I am not known. I seek to be worthy to be known. Ignorance is the night of the mind, but a night without moon and star. He who exercises government by means of his virtue may be compared to the North Polar Star. A man who does not think and plan long ahead will find trouble right at his door. A fool despises good counsel, but a wise man takes it to heart. The superior man acts before he speaks, and afterwards speaks according to his action. To see what is right and not to do it is want of courage or of principle. The virtuous man is driven by responsibility, not by fear. An oppressive government is more to be feared than a tiger. He who learns but does not think is lost. He who thinks but does not learn is in great danger. To go beyond is as wrong as to fall short. The strength of a nation derives from the integrity of the home. The will to win, the desire to succeed, the urge to reach your full potential. These are the keys that will unlock the door to personal excellence. It does not matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop. A gentleman would be ashamed should his deeds not match his words. The man who cannot tolerate small misfortunes can never accomplish great things. Study without thought is labor lost. Thought without study is perilous. An archery target never strikes back. Men fail more because of lack of will than lack of ability. Before you criticize a man, walk a mile in his shoes. By 3 methods we may learn wisdom. First, by reflection, which is noblest. Second, by imitation, which is easiest. And third, by experience, which is the bitterest. He who acts without thinking will suffer the consequences. He who stands on tiptoe cannot stand firm. Do not worry about being misunderstood. Worry about understanding others. The superior man is distressed by his own lack of ability, not by the failure of others to recognize his merits. Humility is the solid foundation of all virtues. Forget injuries, never forget kindnesses. Wisdom, compassion, and courage are the 3 universally recognized moral qualities of men. If one learns from others but does not reflect, one will be puzzled. He who depends on himself will attain the greatest happiness. It is more shameful to distrust our friends than to be deceived by them. If a man takes no thought about what is distant, he will find sorrow near at hand. Do not impose on others what you yourself do not desire. If you make a mistake and do not correct it, this is called a mistake. He who chases 2 rabbits catches neither. A superior man is modest in his speech but exceeds in his actions. To love a thing means wanting it to live. I do not yet know how to walk on solid ground. How could I know how to fly? Real knowledge is to know the extent of one's ignorance. Silence is a true friend who never betrays. The object of the superior man is truth. Life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated. Looking at small advantages prevents great affairs from being accomplished. It is easy to hate, and it is difficult to love. The superior man makes the difficulty to be overcome his first interest. Success only comes later. Faced with what is right, to leave it undone shows a lack of courage. The man who moves a mountain begins by carrying away small stones. When we see men of a contrary character, we should turn inwards and examine ourselves. Hold faithfulness and sincerity as first principles. Do not do unto others what you would not want done to yourself. The superior man is always mindful of virtue. The way out is through the door. Why is it that no one will use this method? Wherever you go, go with all your heart. Education breeds confidence. Confidence breeds hope. Hope breeds peace. When we see men of worth, we should think of equaling them. When we see men of a contrary character, we should turn inwards and examine ourselves. To love something means to give it room to grow. If we don't know life, how can we know death? To govern means to correct. If you set an example by being correct, who would dare to remain incorrect? Heaven means to be one with God. The superior man is modest in his speech but exceeds in his actions. He who does not economize will have to agonize. The superior man does not complain of his circumstances. He simply does what he can to change them. The superior man stands in awe of 3 things: heaven, great men, and the words of the sages. The man who asks a question is a fool for a minute. The man who does not ask is a fool for life. If you lead the people by laws and restrain them by punishments, they will try to avoid the punishment but have no sense of shame. If one is guided by virtue, the people will be respectful and honest. Never give a sword to a man who can't dance. When the wise man points at the moon, the fool looks at the finger. Before you embark on a journey of revenge, dig 2 graves. A gentleman seeks harmony, not conformity. He who speaks without modesty will find it difficult to make his words good. The superior man understands what is right. The inferior man understands what will sell. I hear and I forget. I see and I remember. I do and I understand. The essence of knowledge is having it to apply it, not having it to confess your ignorance. Without feelings of respect, what is there to distinguish men from beasts? As the water shapes itself to the vessel that contains it, a wise man should adapt to circumstances. Study the past if you would define the future. Only the wisest and stupidest of men never change. All people are the same, only their habits differ. The superior man seeks virtue, the inferior man seeks wealth. The green reed which bends in the wind is stronger than the mighty oak which breaks in a storm. To know what is right and not do it is the lack of courage. Men's natures are alike. It is their habits that separate them. What you do not wish for yourself, do not do to others. By nature, men are nearly alike. By practice, they get to be wide apart. It is not the failure of others to appreciate your abilities that should trouble you, but rather your failure to appreciate theirs. He who will not economize will have to agonize. A youth is to be regarded with respect. How do we know that his future will not be equal to our present? To be wronged is nothing unless you continue to remember it. I want you to be everything that's you, deep at the center of your being. Our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Success depends upon previous preparation, and without such preparation, there is sure to be failure. A man who has committed a mistake and doesn't correct it is committing another mistake. The superior man is modest in his desires and prudent in his decisions. When you meet someone better than yourself, turn your thoughts to becoming his equal. When you meet someone not as good, look within and examine your own self. Not correcting our faults is the same as committing new ones. Thanks for watching. If these reflections from Confucius resonated with you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Eternal Philosophies, and hit the notification bell.